So now we talk about non-duality, and really non-duality is so simple. In anything that's happening there is beingness, and then in that beingness there's either a person that appears and complains and comments on what's happening and wants a different experience, a better experience, or thinks this is the best experience, or that doesn't appear. When that person appears, it can either give a high experience as, yes, I'm in the right place, this is the best experience ever, I want this experience to last forever, and it can either give a high to the experience, or it can give a low, this is not the right place, I don't want this, I want to be somewhere else. What tends to happen is the older and older that illusory self becomes, the more and more negative it becomes, and it has less and less of the high experiences. So there's less and less of, yeah, I've got it, and more of bitching and moaning about what's actually happening. This is very logical, because the flow of things is wild and free to be as it is. And so again and again, the illusory self is going to come up against life, which isn't appearing in the way it expects it, and isn't maintaining the pleasurable sensations. So it's naturally going to get more and more negative, because it's going to get more and more knocked and bashed by the flow of things. The flow of things will keep letting it down. It will keep losing that which it loves, and it will keep not getting that which it expects. And that's just the way it goes. And if the human body was alive for 500 years, every human body would wake up, I'm sure, in that lifetime, because it would become so obvious that what you want is not in the movement of things. Things are just moving. And what you want is not in a sensation, a feeling, an experience. And you'll just keep the stories will just keep repeating, and it will be so obvious it's not about what you think is happening. It's not about the highs and the lows of the experience, whether it be an awakening experience or a really love blissful experience or a really low negative experience. The person, and often I can sound quite harsh, because somebody might have a high awakening experience, and I'm equally not interested in that. I'm not interested in the low experience or the high experiences. And it will become so obvious, if the body was alive for 500 years, that all it's doing is trying to make experience higher by repeating old experiences and repeating how it's got there, or make it lower and repeating negative experiences and how it's not got there. It's just the same old thing appearing again and again and again. And eventually that addiction to the high will die, because it will be so obvious that it comes with the low. And that you can never keep the addiction to the high. The high and the low are the same thing. You can never keep it. Whatever you think is it, you can't keep. Even if you think it's an awakening experience, a blissful love. If you think it's about you awakening, you will always lose it. If you think it's about you having certain experiences, you'll always lose it and be disappointed. It's just about being, and being is absolutely free and in love with everything that's appearing, without that separate person that thinks it's interfering with life and controlling life. It's just that simple, but that has to play out by itself. I cannot teach you that happiness is not in the flow of things. I cannot teach you that. That will play out by itself. The illusory self will get less and less interested in itself. It will become bored with itself. It will become bored with trying to maintain things, with trying to make your partner a certain way. It will get so boring, this. It will become, it will be uninteresting trying to run away from fearful experiences. You'll be like, I never want to fly on an airplane, I hate airplanes, they scare me, and then life will make you fly on an airplane all the time, and you'll become bored with feeling scared. You'll be like, oh, here we are again, fear. It's just fear. You like the whole interest in that person will dissolve on its own. It's not its own efforts. It's just the natural flow of things, the growth of this illusory self. And if you watch a 9-year-old child or a 10-year-old child, they're so desperate to be someone with ambition and drive and ideas about themselves and what they're going to be and what they're going to get. They really want to be something, and it will grow and grow and grow, and it will go through many phases, highs, lows, and then eventually it will get to a point where it's just bored with itself, and then it will crumble. But this isn't something that any speaker, that any activity can make go faster. It naturally happens on its own. It's a process like the trees losing their leaf in the autumn, like the flowers growing up. You can never know where you are. Who would know where they are on this process? You can never know if you exist or don't exist. That's nothing to do with you. You is an experience, not the experiencer. The you doesn't know anything about experiencing or experiences because it is an experience. So even if it pops up and says, okay, yeah, this weekend at Lisa's I had the most liberating experience, it can't know that. It is the experience. It cannot know that. It's a moving experience, the sense of self. So an experience can't know the experience. The beingness, it's not the beingness knows the experience like you imagine either, but beingness is and is always there, and it's not knowing it like you imagine. It's not registering like you imagine, like some people call beingness all-knowing, but I sometimes think that's too similar to the person. Not that it matters, I mean, it's so hard to talk about anyway. I don't mean to criticize other speakers, whatever way works, but beingness isn't knowing it like I know it in time, but yet it is experiencing. It's hard to, it's not registering as such, but it's experiencing. This is appearing. But you can never know it as a person, because that person is already appearing in it. It's already part of the experience. Wow, from such quiet, gentle monks to, where did it come from? I was all ready for my second sleep.